Hey gang, it's Qqcknd and I'm here to show you how to make a vegan pumpkin cake with horchata icing. It's gonna be so awesome. I've been making this cake for a couple years now, so I've strayed from the original ingredients and kind of came up with my own, and after years of failed cakes, I think I've nailed it. So you can choose whatever oil that you freak with. I chose canola. I used coconut oil once, but it made the cake too wet. Any non-dairy you want. This is just silk. There are a ton of spices in this recipe. I got everything from a spice place a couple years ago that just measured everything out for me when I gave them my ingredients. So these jimmies are optional. You do not have to use jimmies if you want. These are vegan jimmies. When you're looking for jimmies, you want to avoid gelatin and shellac, but you can just use coconut shavings if you want, or nothing. So if you're having a hard time finding horchata, you can totally skip it and just use silk, or find a recipe to make horchata yourself. It's seasonal, so it might be hard to find right now. I love horchata though. I think it gives this recipe something like sweet and cinnamony, and I think that it's great, but you could definitely go without it if you have a hard time finding it. You can get it off Wegmans. Mine is off of Amazon, and it's just rice milk. These ingredients are soft enough to mix by hand, so I don't use a beater or anything. I just use a nice whisk. It was super easy to mix up too. I do a pinch of salt to my ingredients. Well, I get too much salt in my hands because I need a lot of help, but I just do a little pinch, but freak what you feel. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I beat this bad boy for like a couple minutes just to make sure there are no clumps. Definitely make sure that it's not too clumpy before you put it in your pan, because those clumps are just chunks of spice and you do not want to take a bite of those. So I give my pan the old oil and flour treatment. You could spray it with some cooking spray if that's what you do. Our cooking spray was expired in the cabinet, so I did it a little more old school and just enough oil to just get the pan wet, honestly. We're putting the batter in the pan. When I put this in here, it looks really weak, like it's practically no cake at all, but the cake rises in the oven, so you don't have to worry. You don't want to make it too thick. So yeah, mine is just a sad layer at the bottom of this pan. I kind of just smooth all the corners and act like I'm on a cooking show. and put that bad boy in. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out this timer, and I completely understand it, but have never accurately got it on the first time. So these are the ingredients to the icing. I'm making the icing while the cake is in the oven. I am splitting the milk portion of the ingredients, 2 teaspoons horchata and then 2 soy milk. You can do whatever you want. You can do all horchata or all soy milk. It really is your world, and it's your cake. This is just pumpkin cake. Hopefully it like slices well and I can bring it to school.
Sure.
I feel like it's my vegan obligation to make a treat at least once. I put my butter in the microwave for like 5 seconds and it was soft enough to put in here. And I am using a blender for this because something magical happens when you're using Confectioners Sugar plus blender. And again, these jimmies are totally optional. I know it's a total pain to find vegan jimmies. Usually the cheapy ones can sometimes be accidentally vegan. You might spend a ton of time in the aisle looking for vegan jimmies though, so honestly skip it if you can't find them or don't already have some in your cabinet. So I let my cake sit for 2 hours before I did the icing, and I put my icing in the fridge just because I wanted it to be kind of hard, because I knew I was taking some of this cake to school and I didn't want it to be ooey gooey in my travels. If you're not doing anything for the rest of the day, I suggest letting everything chill at room temperature, because I have a little bit of a hard time spreading this icing on there because it is a little stiff. I mean, I pull it all together, but if you are baking this for someone, yeah, put it in the fridge, get it a little stiff. But let your cake sit for at least an hour before you try to put anything on there, because our icing is sensitive and it will melt. So I know this kind of looks like an 8-year-old's first birthday cake, I know, but after we cut it up, it looks a little more reasonable. So my advice if you are making treats for your non-vegan friends is cut some pieces small and then some pieces large, just in case you get that, well, I just want to try a little piece. Then you'll have a little piece for your friendly sampler. I also include a row of larger pieces for John and and I eat that piece. That's where it went. And again, I pop my cake in the fridge for a couple more minutes before I cut them into pieces for my friends. Just again, so the icing wasn't super ooey gooey, because it does have a tendency to melt a little bit and turn into a glaze rather than an icing. If you're about that glaze life, then do it up. And yeah, that is the video. I'm glad you guys really liked it. Such a positive response on Instagram. @ me, hashtag me if you recreate this and let me know. I love you guys so much and thank you for the encouragement. Bye! And I have all my treats for my classmates today, and I will kill anyone who makes a vegan joke. I will kill you.
I'm not gonna turn vegan if I eat this, right?
You know, I had vegan soda once.